I think we can start. So welcome everyone again. Welcome to this session. Just to introduce myself, I'm Lucia Mansueto. I'm a program operations assistant at the AEF. And with me today is Manal Benani, youth and culture manager, and Andrzej Dabkowski, head of performance and EU tracking. And also we have our sorry, but I hear some noise. Make sure that you're muted. We also have our external consultants, Grasa and Maita, that will also jump in the Q&A session to answer your questions. So very quickly on rules of engagement, again, mute your mic and also please keep your camera off. Because I think that more people will join during the session and we want to avoid any connection issues for anyone. You can drop your questions in the chat box during this first introduction part, and then we will be having an interactive Q&A. And then you can, of course, you can turn on your camera and your mic and ask your questions directly. So over to you, Manal, for this first part, for this introduction. Thanks.
Thank you, Lucia. Well, first of all, thank you everyone for joining the session and for your interest to apply for the call for the awards. First of all, I would like to give a very brief introduction about the foundation, who we are, what we do, and what is the aim of this call. The foundation, Africa AEF Foundation, is an independent multi-stakeholder platform that is engaged in frank dialogue, policy advocacy, and strategic analysis. The aim and the mission of the foundation is to reset the relationship between Africa and Europe by building a true and equitable partnership with a vision for a shared future. The call for the awards aims at catalyzing debate and action on the themes from the State of Africa-Europe report of 2024. It will help in boosting and fostering the Africa-Europe partnership in the international agenda. So from COP29 all the way through to the UN agenda, including the Summit of the Future that is coming up in September, as well as the next AU-EU Summit, which will be held in 2025. So at the end of it, this call for the awards is going to be contributing to the overall work of the foundation, which is mainly fostering and strengthening the partnership between Africa and Europe. It will definitely amplify actions that are led by youth organizations, cities and local authorities, as well as civil society partners across Africa and Europe. So I will start by giving some answers that we have within the team accumulated from the frequently asked questions, but then after that, Lucia will jump in again to open the floor for you to ask any questions that we may not have covered or you see that they are ambiguous. However, if you do have a question while I'm explaining, please put it in the chat so we can go back to it and cover it again. First of all, who can apply to this call? I would start by advising anyone who is interested in this call to read carefully the applicant's guidelines. We did make sure that it is very simple and very and readable. It is published on our website. Please make sure that you fill in the application form that is annexed as Annex A, which you can also download from the website. Please be mindful that any handwritten applications or any applications submitted in other formats will not be accepted. So make sure that you fill in the application form that you download from the website. Second, make sure that you submit your application via email to partnership@africaeurofoundation.org no later than the 23rd of May 2024 at 5 p.m. Brussels time, so 17 CET or 18 Addis Ababa time. And please refer to the registration number received upon confirmation of submission, which means that after you submit, you will receive an email that states that we confirm reception of your submission. However, if you need to rectify or edit your application, you can still do it up to the deadline. So you cannot make any other modifications after the 23rd of May. Second, who can apply? So any youth-led organization or youth-focused organizations, cities and local authorities, think tanks, civil society platforms, and NGOs, which are inspiring and empowering and trying to support local youth actors through dialogue are invited to apply for this 2024 award scheme. The applicants must be legally registered in any of the member states of the African Union or the European Union, including the European Economic Area, as well as the European Free Trade Area Association. Please note that natural persons are not eligible. However, in previous editions, we did have some people who are affiliated to organizations that are registered, whether in the African Union or the European Union, including the EEA and the EFTA. You could actually, if you are allowed to apply through these organizations, then please do. Now, what are the two lots under which the award scheme is organized? So this award scheme has two different lots. First lot, which is the local impact awards, and the cross-network awards, which is the second lot, each supporting different types of initiatives, which are focusing on whether local, which is lot 1, whether cross-continental, which means between Africa and Europe, which is lot 2. The award grant amounts to 5,000 euros for the first lot and 10,000 euros for the second lot. Each organization is eligible to apply for both lots separately. So any organization can apply to lot 1 and lot 2 both at the same time. So you have the right to submit a maximum of 2 applications, 1 per lot. And the evaluation procedure for each lot and for each application will be conducted separately. Finally, applications submitted under lot 2 must include activities conducted both in an African and a European country, physically or remotely, or remotely as well. Depends on what type of activities you want to conduct. Just to clarify also on this point that any organization which has the cross-continental nature, which means it could be an organization that is based in Europe, but it has members in Africa, or an organization that is based in Africa and it has members in Europe and does also initiatives in both Africa and Europe, can apply. And when it applies, it has to make sure that the initiative or the activities that they are applying for this award through must be conducted in both Africa and Europe, and as I mentioned earlier, physically and or remotely. What are the key themes applicants should focus on when they proceed with the proposed projects? So applicants are strongly encouraged to deep dive into 3 priority chapters of the State of Africa Europe Report of 2024, which include climate and development. It includes science, education, culture, sustainable finance. These themes, as I mentioned earlier, we strongly encourage you to apply and focus on these themes. However, of course, the report does cover other areas and does cover other thematic areas, which you can also focus on. However, you will be definitely given precedence if you do focus on the 3 priority chapters. So you can actually go through the report, and if you see that your work aligns with other thematic areas, then that should not be a challenge, or that should not be an obstacle for you to apply. Finally, what is the timeline for the implementation of the Partners Initiative? So the awarded activities, be it micro and mini projects, should run and be completed between the 7th of July, 2024, all the way up to 25th of October, 2025. The applicants should clearly state the expected project duration and timeline for the implementation. So when you apply, you should really clarify in your proposal when and how long it will take for the project to be implemented, so that we also make sure that we support you for that period of time. Applicants are encouraged to plan their projects to align activities and maximize impact around key global political and policy milestones. As you saw, that we actually put the overall timeline from the 7th of July all the way up to the 25th of October, which will definitely include many global activities and many global political and policy milestones, such as COP29, the AU-EU Summit, the Summit of the Future. So make sure that any project or any proposal that you will submit does have an impact around these key milestones. And finally, we wanted to also show you the evaluation criteria, so you are aware First of all, we will actually mark up on 10 points the relevance to chosen thematic focus areas. So one of the priority chapters of the Africa-Europe the State of Africa-Europe report of 2024, dialogue focus on Africa-Europe partnership and incorporation of participants from both Africa and Europe. So the more you make sure that it is inclusive and it is really fostering partnership between the two continents, the better marks you get as well. And there will be 10 points on that. The proposed impact, so to make sure that the project that you are proposing is not just for engagement, but it does have an impact out of it. That will be also marked out of 10. And then the cost effectiveness and clear budget. It's true these lots could be small when it comes to size, so 5,000 and 10,000 for cross-continental projects. However, we want to see that whoever is applying is very resourceful and make sure that they're very cost effective and they focus on the impact rather than increasing the budget and the resources for the project. And that will be also marked out of 10. And then incorporation of documentation of dialogue action through professional video and photography, which will be also as a marked out of 5. And then finally, linkage to high-level political fora. So the connection of the proposed activity or initiative to the different global milestones, be it the UN General Assembly, the World Health Assembly, and so forth and so forth. And that would be also marked out of 5 points. And then the total possible score will be out of 50 points. And the minimum score for an application to be considered and to be shortlisted or qualified is 25. So if you do get lower than 25 from the different criteria that I've already mentioned, then you will be sadly disqualified. I give back the floor to Lucia now and open the floor for you to ask any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Manal. Thank you for making it strict to the point. So we just received one question meanwhile from Dr. Ali Dida. It's a very long message. So I think that meanwhile that you were speaking, you already answered to the first question. And yeah, you can, I mean, in general, to get the better overview of the requirements timeline, because this is just a synthesis of the guidelines, but everything is published on our website. So you do have it there. So I'm trying to get a more specific question from this message. So collaboration between African and European organizations is crucial for driving sustainable development. How does the Africa-Europe Foundation actively facilitate and promote partnerships between African and European entities in various sectors, particularly in areas such as youth empowerment, education, and entrepreneurship? And our consortium places great emphasis on empowering African youth. Does the Africa-Europe Foundation have any ongoing initiatives or programs that specifically focus on supporting? Okay, I think this is very generic questions. Maybe, Manal, you can give it an answer to the second one on the Africa-Europe initiative. Yeah, Manal, you're muted. Thank you. You have an issue with your mic.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
Perfect. Well, first of all, I can go through all the questions just to give them clarity. First of all, yes, your initiative, which is Aid Ethiopia or IRC Africa, could definitely apply each to both lots. So lot 1 and lot 2. And as I said, we have the very detailed guidelines of the process of the application on the website. Please go there and download the application form and make sure that you fill it. Within the application form, you will have like all the different requirements needed to be filled. Second, when it comes to the collaboration, definitely Africa-Europe Foundation is trying to empower young people and to support them. And this award call is actually an example of some of the work that we're doing to foster youth empowerment and to support them in initiating and in also implementing their own projects. And finally, we do have initiatives and programs that are separate from this call, but let's make sure that we stay on this call for awards so that we can actually apply to reply to the questions that we might have from other applicants or like people who are interested to apply. Yes, I see that Damilola has his hand risen. Please go ahead, Damilola, ask your question if you have any. Damilola? Could you please unmute yourself and ask the question directly?
Yes, sir. I was trying to figure it out. It's quite strange with Microsoft Word, with Microsoft Teams, anyways. So my question really is, first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity, African Europe Foundation. My question is that in terms of like incorporation of photograph and audio and video into the application, how are we supposed to go about that? Are we supposed to put it into using an, are we supposed to attach as an hyperlink, or how do you suggest we go through that? That's one. And the second angle, looking through the application form, I see that they were supposed to give an 100-word description of the financial proposal, that is breakdown of cost and any co-financing sources. I would like that you clarify on that as much as the difference between that and the actual breakdown of budget. I don't know if you understand my question.
If I might answer, but maybe like the experts could also jump in and provide even like more clarity on those questions. First of all, regarding the breakdown of the financial proposal. So first of all, like as I said, like in the application form, as it stated, like you need to have a summary of how you plan to actually use the money allocated, be it in lot 1 or lot 2, for the activities that you do. And regarding the co-sponsorship, just to clarify, some organizations might have their own financial system that they could have also money that is already supposed to be spent on the project that they would apply for the award. So you could actually, if you do have other financial resources that you would like also to use for the project, because the project might maybe like take up more than 5,000 euros, and you are free to do that as an organization. And you could also like, even for the co-sponsorship, even use your own resources that are available at your organization. That is what we meant by co-sponsorship. But that is not something obligatory. You have the freedom to do that if you have extra resources and extra money, extra budget within your organization. But you can also just use the lot, which is like the money that you will be granted through this call for the implementation of your project. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. Remaining the first one, which is about intersecting the links and for videos and documentaries into the application.
Those are actually connected to your organization. So if you have a website for the organization, if I understood correctly, I don't know
Maybe
if
I can, yeah.
Yes.
So regarding the media, communication, videos, whatever, you can read it in the evaluation grid of the guidelines. It's referred to the project deliverables. So if you, in your project proposals, if you include the production of communication material to showcase your project, that's gonna be a very good point. You can exactly, you have it in the evaluation grid. So in the application form, you just need to submit, to type the information, the project, but there's no need to include hyperlinks or videos or images, right? And you have this in the FAQ we published on the website. So any kind of communication material is referred to the deliverable of the project. Is it clear, or did I answer your question, or it was?
Oh yeah, that's once teams are already selected, organizations that are supposed to execute their plan on how to document the impact is what this really means, correct?
Yes, actually, Damilola. So if you're planning to, for example, if you have, let's say like you're going to do a project on the ground, and you plan to take pictures while the people are having a workshop or whatever activity that you're planning to do, if you're planning to conduct a small video, photos of that, you could mention it initially in the proposal that you will be doing that. And that would be also a plus for you, because at the end of the day, like after every awardee is implementing the project and after the completion of the project, we do share on our social media platforms that would increase the visibility of your work and your organization. So that is a plus for you as well. Yes, Ali Dida.
Thank you very much. Indeed, I appreciate for this initiative. My name is Dr. Ali Dida. I'm the CEO and the consulting lead of AID and ARC Ethiopia. The very few questions that I would like to ask is that as the ARC Africa and AID Ethiopia Consortium, we are eager to participate in the call proposal for Lot 1 and Lot 2. So I would like to know, or if you can provide us with a detailed information about this, including about the application process, including any specific requirement organization based in East Africa. Number two, collaboration between the African and European organization is a crucial for driving sustainable development. How does African Europe Foundation actively facilitate and promote partnership between African organizations based particularly in East Africa? By that our consortium is placed great emphasis on empowering African youth. Does the African Europe Foundation have any ongoing programs that are specific for youth initiative in East Africa? Regarding the Lot 1 and Lot 2, can we are we eligible for applying both Lot 1 and Lot 2? The financially, regarding the financial parts, there's a 5,000, there's a 10,000, there's a 5,000 euro and 10,000 euro. Again, when I look at the call guideline, I think there's also 150,000 euro. Is it only for the funding budget is 10,000, or we can?
Thank you, Ali.
Okay, thank you. That's all about.
Thank you, Ali Dida. Thank you for your questions. Actually, you're the one who typed the question in the chat, and I've already responded. Please go to our website, africafoundation.org. You will have the very specific the guideline with all the details concerning the requirements to apply for each lot. And as I said earlier, and I would like to reiterate, each organization is entitled and eligible to apply for both lots. Just be aware that for Lot 1 and for Lot 2, the selection process will be conducted separately, but you have the right to apply for each lot. That's the first. And second,
thank you. Thank you. What about the consortium? Consortium is also eligible for apply.
I'm going to answer. Please, could
you
you also like unmute, and everybody else who's not speaking to mute, because we're having background noise. For every the consortium, if it's registered and it has a registration number legally registered, both whether in Africa or in Europe, then it has also the right to apply for each lot. If it's not legally registered, then in that case, it doesn't have the right to apply. And finally, regarding the question on the financial part, the Lot 1 is only 5,000 euros and Lot 2 is 10,000 euros. The overall project is for more than 150 euros, but then that doesn't mean we will give this amount to one organization. Each organization has the right to apply for whether Lot 1 or Lot 2. Lot 1 is 5,000 euros and Lot 2 is 10,000 euros. I invite Paul Afulabi.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, when you were presenting earlier, I'm so sorry for my voice. We submitted, the Eureka Learners Foundation Global submitted a cross-continental proposal for one of the lots, but we did not receive an acknowledgement email. So there is no confirmation number, as you said earlier. Is that okay, or do we have to reapply?
In that case, please submit your application again, because most probably maybe you used a different format of the application for the application form. Please make sure that you download the application form that is annexed. It's Annex A to the call for the awards. And make sure that you fill in that form and you submit that form. The moment you submit that form, you will receive the registration number and the confirmation of reception, of submission.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, Damilola?
Manal, I think we should take some questions from the chat meanwhile, because we are receiving some.
Would you come back to me?
Yes, of course.
Go ahead, Damilola, and then we will move to the chat.
All right, so quick, the last question from my mind. Please, could you show the criteria again? Because I see something I want to ask on. But all right, thank you very much. So for the second criteria, which says dialogue focus on Africa and Europe partnership and incorporation of participants for both Africa and Europe. So what happens in a case where where we are looking to focus on majorly Africans to benefit, and we're looking at lot one? Do you say that we, as lot one applicants potentially, do you say that we still have to look for a way to incorporate European participants?
Not necessarily, because lot one is for local action. So if you're applying for lot one and you're like African based and you want to focus on African beneficiaries, then you can have only Africans. If it is cross-continentals, then you could focus on European. As long as there is the component of fostering Africa-Europe partnership, even if the beneficiaries are just Africans or just Europeans, then you are eligible to apply for lot one. I will move to Lucia so that she could also share the questions from the chat.
Yeah, so actually we got a very similar question from Maggie. If it's mandatory to collaborate between African and Europe, seeing that for lot one, seeing that if you don't have an established partner, it might be difficult. No, indeed, for lot one, you do not have to have a partnership with the European. If you're from Africa with the European, or if you're from Europe, a European organization, to have a partnership with an African organization. So for lot one, it is not mandatory. So we can move to the other one from Vincent. When exactly should applicants expect to have the outcome of their application? So the application process, the evaluation, the selection, will start from the 3rd of June and will run until the 14th of June. So after the 14th of June and not later than the 5th of July, you will get a feedback. You will hear back from us. Hope that answered your question. I will take another one. So Eureka, I think this was Paul, right? So you already asked.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, fine. Okay. Is it possible to make some adjustments on proposal already submitted? Yes, until the close of the deadline, until the 23rd of May, you can ask for rectification of your application. In that case, you need to mention the registration number you will receive once you submitted the application for the first time, so that it's easier for us to go back to track application and go back to your application and replace it with a new one. Do we have more raised hands? I see Damilola, he still has his hand raised, but
yes, I have another question. Sorry,
okay.
I was just looking through the report and I see that it is stated that the project is supposed to run between July and 25th of October 2024, but what you presented was different. So I just want to be sure which is which.
It's until October 2025. Manal, you can go back to the timeline. Maybe there's something in the PowerPoint.
Okay, because what is on the form is kind of
Yes,
different.
yes, it's until October. Okay, thanks for flagging that. Yes, it's until October 2025, but it doesn't mean that your project needs to be that long. It can be also a 2 to 3 months project. And
Okay.
that's why we also have different grants amounts. So yes, it can be way shorter. Yeah.
If I may also
Right.
complement what Lucia is saying, as I mentioned earlier, if, and it is also in this slide, if your project is actually aligned with another global milestone, it could be COP29, it could be the AU-EU Summit, which will be in 2025, it could be any other event, then you have the flexibility to actually choose that your project is going to be in a timeline around that milestone. And as Lucia said, like you don't have to have it like for more than a year. You could have the project that is run only for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, but like within this big frame, time frame. I see another question by Maggie, which says that, is there a preference of projects that promote dialogue, example, debates, over community projects that are non-dialogue inclusive, example, sustainable agriculture projects? The idea is that as long as the project is aimed as the different thematics that are mentioned within the State of Africa Europe 2024 report, then of course it's eligible. There is no preference when it comes to the nature of the project, if it is just dialogue or just debate or something on the grassroots level, as long as the project does foster the partnership and does support one of the thematic areas that are in the report. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, from Zainab.
Okay. Actually, we give the freedom for the proposals that we give you the freedom to actually mention the target number of young people that you want to reach within your project. So we didn't specify the number, but of course, like it should be more than it should have like a substantial number of beneficiaries. So you cannot apply for a project that will only impact, let's say, like 5 people or 10 people. So, but then like within your proposal, you can within your resources and the type of project that you're conducting, you could have your own target number of young people that you want to reach. Again, for the question by Sama regarding the documents that you need to fill, you have to fill in, like you have to actually go to our website, and that Lucia actually already shared, that there is the call for awards. Within the call for awards, there is this Annex A, which is the application form. Make sure that you fill in that form and you submit that form, and you will receive an email confirming your submission. And then again, also, I would like to repeat again that from now until the 23rd of May, if you submit today or if you submit this week, you have always the possibility to go back and amend or edit your application, as long as you don't do it after the deadline, because after the deadline, no modifications will be allowed.
Maite, I see you raised your hand. Maybe you would complement something.
Yes, thank you. If I may, Manal and Lucia, I am not sure we have a reply to the question from Ali Dida. So just regarding the eligibility criteria, you just need to consider the eligibility criteria mentioned into the guidelines. All the information the applicant need to consider to apply to this call are indicated in the guidelines. There are no other eligibility criteria out of these guidelines. Yes, thank you. Just this clarification maybe. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I think that answered the question. So regarding, yeah, we have another question from Maggie, actually. So are profit-making enterprises eligible to apply, even if the project is for non-profit? So I would say no, but I can also call for Andre to confirm this, if you can hear us.
Yeah, thank you. No, maybe we can also confirm following this call, but from my memory, the eligibility criteria state has to be a non-profit organization.
Yes, I'm sorry, but unfortunately, yeah, that would not fit into the call eligibility criteria. If selected, another question from Damilola, if selected, is the grant given based on milestones or given in full? I think maybe you're asking whether you get some pre-financing or if you get the full amount at the end of the project, right, Damilola? Is that what you meant?
Yeah, so do we have to do a particular thing to get paid and then till we get to the end, or it is given as a whole and then we execute and submit the reports if selected?
Andrea, maybe you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. No. So the way that we've implemented this scheme over the last 2 years is that we've agreed 50% pre-financing for those mini projects, meaning you get a disbursement of 50% of the overall amount upon the signature of the grant contract, and then remaining 50% upon submission and approval of the final report.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Andre.
All right. Thank you, Damilola. I'm just running into the chat. So yeah, youth in Kenya is considered between 18 and 35 years old. Is there an age limit for youth?
If I may answer this question, like for us within the foundation, this is actually our definition for the youth population. So you could actually go between 18 to 35 as your beneficiaries.
Okay, all right. One last question from Vincent. Can a project run for as long as designed by the implementers, provided it starts and ends within July the 7th and October the 2025? Okay, or should run short? Yes.
As Lucia had actually already mentioned, but I will also explain again. So for us, the timeline is that you could start the project anytime between the 7th of July. You could start it at any time, and you have to finish it right before October 2025. That doesn't mean that your project should start from the 7th of July of 2024 and then finish on the 25th of October of 2025. It means that you have the flexibility to run your project within this period. Your project could be, it could be like, I don't know, a one-day workshop. It could be a 1 month training online. It could be a 3 months project, but you have to just make sure that your implementation, the start and the end of the project is between these two dates. So it's between the 7th of July of 2024 and the 25th of October of 2025. Just make sure of that. But then like you have the full flexibility in terms of the duration of your project and when to start it, as long as you don't start it earlier than the 7th of July. And also you don't start it after the 25th of October. Just make sure that whenever you start it, you will finish it right before the last date that we set, which is the 25th of October, 2025. I hope this is clear.
Manal, sorry, if I can just add maybe on that, because I think it's a very helpful clarification, is that when you think about designing your projects, your mini projects, it's good to take into account not only kind of your own capacity and kind of most convenient timeline, but also link specifically to the kind of global discussion, global events that might be contributing or be used to leverage what you're trying to achieve. Yeah, so try and think about innovative ways to maximize the impact of your projects, and that might include, for example, if you're organizing a workshop for youth on specific topic, connecting it specifically to some global debate that might be happening. I don't know if it's linked to climate around COP29. Yeah, and that therefore this improves the impact of your project, but also makes it a very relevant and timely contribution to the overall work of our foundation, which is to provide policy advocacy to the African, European, global leaders. And therefore, we can take into account the outcomes of your micro projects when we develop our materials as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Andre, for clarifying. Do we have more questions, or maybe someone wants to raise his or her hand and speak out? We still have 20-something minutes, so yeah. We are here at your disposal. Feel free to ask. Also, I want to remember that as of tomorrow, we cannot get more questions. So today is the very last day to submit your question, either here, drop it in the chat or via email. So yes, let's ensure that all questions are covered. Yes, Ruben.
Hi, how are you? I was wondering, because we have two projects. One project, the beneficiaries are between that age group that you said, so it's focusing on university students. But the other project is a environmental education program where we focus on primary schools. So like grade 4, grade 5, which is like between 6 to 10-year-olds. Introducing them with environmental education and cleaning up the environment. So it is, I guess, within your categories, but is that then too young, that youth, in that sense?
I would say no, but Manal can confirm this.
To be honest, like for us, we were not very rigid in drafting the guidelines for this project. So we did not specify that the beneficiaries have to be like within the youth. However, like if the people who are running the project are actually youth, and they have this foresight for impact for the upcoming youth generation of Africa, I think you are eligible to apply for this award. So I do encourage you to definitely like apply for it.
Cool. Okay, great. Yeah, well, our facilitators are are under 35 mostly, so that fits perfectly then.
Thank you, Ruben. I see another question from Maggie asking if individuals can apply. Again, I have mentioned earlier in the eligibility that it has to be an organization or a city or institution or like a think tank that is registered in Africa or in Europe, even like extending to the European Economic Area, as well as the European Free Trade Association. However, as I said earlier, if you are an individual who have a project, but you're not registered, but you are affiliated to an organization that is registered, which allows you to apply on their behalf using their registration number for the project, and you take the lead in the implementation, that is a way to go around this and actually do apply and implement your project. So that is something that you can actually do if you really have a project in mind. Finally, I see that Luther King also...
Yes, Manal, sorry, I think also to add a bit on what you already said for Maggie's question. So your organization might not be registered, but you do have a fiscal partner, meaning that you can can give the details of a fiscal partner who can receive the grant amount. But that's its own you, it's not the AEF that will support applicants with these legal requirements. So as long as you have another organization supporting your application as a fiscal partner, then it's also possible. And then we have a question on, let's say, the same topic from Luther King. So if your fiscal sponsor does not have a general account to receive funds, how to reconcile that? Can you change a fiscal sponsor after application has already been submitted? So
If I may.
Yes, Manuel.
So if your fiscal sponsor does not have a general account to receive the funds, then it's not advisable to actually use that fiscal sponsor or actually partner. I think you need to make sure that whoever's fiscal details you're going to be using in the application are people who can receive the fund and who are eligible and registered, whether in Africa or in Europe, before the application is submitted, or at least before the deadline, because you can still like submit and then like modify before the deadline. But after the 23rd of May, 2024, you will not be able to change the details. And it will be very difficult to change the fiscal sponsor that you have already put in your submission. So make sure that whoever you use for this fiscal details is somebody who can receive the funds. I see another question also from Vincent, include in the website.
Yes, I replied that we will double check. There was some typos somewhere on the website, or so we will double check around the 2024, 2025, but it's 2025. Huh? So another question from Maimuna. So to elaborate on the linkage to high-level political fora in accordance to the research, do you want to discuss a bit, Maimuna, your question? Would you like to make it more specific? I don't know, Manal, if you understood.
Hello, hi.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted an elaboration on that statement, because there is, on the evaluation criteria, there's 5 points that one is going to, yeah. So as in, what
kind of linkage there should be in your project with the high-level political fora?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
If I may ask, if I may actually elaborate just a bit, I mean, like, you have to be very creative when it comes to designing the project. As Andre had already mentioned, there are a lot of milestones between the 7th of July, which is the time of the start of the projects, or like the timeline that we have set, all the way up to 25th of October 2025. So within this time, there are so many milestones that are leading. There is the Civil Society UN Forum, there is the UN General Assembly, the COP29, there will be the AU-EU Summit, and so many other milestones. So for example, if your work is going to be around climate, there will be also the New York Climate Week that happens every year on the first week of September. There will be also the Sustainable Energy for All Forum that will be also held in September this year. So if you're working on a specific thematic that is linked to these different global milestones, then you can actually make sure that, for example, if you're doing a podcast, if you're doing a debate, you could discuss some of the topics that will be discussed during this fora, to make sure that you come up with recommendations that could be presented, for example, at this dialogue. You could maybe analyze and see how your work can contribute to such platforms, be it like COP or any other forums that I explained. But then, like, for us, we did not define how your linkage is going to be. It's up to you and the design of your project on how to link it. It could be communication around it. It could be a side event of it. It could be anything. So you have the flexibility to make sure to link it, but you have the flexibility also to be creative on how to link it. Yes, Ako, you had your hand raised up.
Yeah, thank you very much for all of the explanations so far. My question is, for the cross-continental project, the initiative, does it have to involve two different organizations based in these two countries, Africa and Europe? Or can it be an organization just working to see that the impact of the project is felt in both continents? Also, my second question is, do you have a list of all of those milestones that you talk about, all of those international events that we can look through? Because I took a note of some, but I don't know if there are more of them that we can always make reference to, just to check that we are in line and identify the ones that we really want to work with. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ako Ayo. So for your first question, when it comes to the cross-continental nature of the projects, as I mentioned earlier, the organization could be based in Africa, and it could have members in Europe, and make sure that whatever initiative or activity that they're going to be held in should be in Africa and Europe, or like in one of the continents, but make sure that beneficiaries are from both continents, because at the end of it, like, it's a cross-continental. So we want to make sure that it does have the cross-continental aspect of it. However, again, like, you could be very creative in designing a project to make sure that this project could actually have beneficiaries from both continents. It could, and also, like, we were very flexible in a way that you don't have to have the event or the activity or the initiative on site. It could be like of hybrid nature. It could be online debates that you organize with African members, but also with counterparts from Europe as well. So as long as it has both representation from both continents, then it is eligible for that lot. And the second question, I forgot the second question. Can you please repeat it quickly?
It had to do with the milestones associated with the international events.
For the different milestones, I mean, like, if you go through our website at theafricafoundation.org, you will see that we do produce a lot of communication pieces around the different milestones that are of interest for the work that we do. And you can actually have ideas of the various events that are coming up that you should take note of. And some that we've already mentioned: the UN General Assembly, the Summit of the Future. There will be also the COP29, the Africa-Europe, the AU-EU Summit that will be held next year. But there are, of course, other events that we did not mention in this presentation, but you will definitely find them in our website. So do go there and take note of these platforms and different political forums.
Okay, that answered your question, Ako?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ako.
Fine. So just quickly to the chat, we have a couple of questions on fiscal partners. So what kind of details they need to include in the application regarding this fiscal partner, apart from bank details, and what kind of entity it has to be. I don't know if Grasa and Maita would like to jump in, or even Andre, if you want to clarify a bit on this fiscal partner.
Yes, I think regarding the fiscal partner, it needs to be an organization, and I would say that a part of the bank details, registration certificate could be asked. But I don't know if Grasa or Andrej want to complete.
Maybe if I can just ask that there is several organizations that specialize in this type of support. Yeah, so they provide this kind of a legal and financial vehicle for grassroots organizations to apply for this kind of funds. And if you just spend 5 minutes on Google, you can identify those organizations. I think for us, it's important that when the application goes through, it's very clearly written that this is a joint application with a whatever grassroots organization that currently doesn't have a legal and financial setup, together with another organization that acts as its fiscal partner, and therefore will be acting as a kind of a budget management and disbursement, and also will receive funding on behalf of the of that organization. So but my recommendation would be just to spend 5 minutes, do a bit of Google, and you can identify those partners.
All right, I think we can get back to Ruben. He has one more question.
Yes, thank you. Very quickly. I just wanted to ask, because we have a challenge where we basically mobilize university students with organizations to think how they can contribute to the SDGs of the UN better. And my idea is to basically, because we do this in the Netherlands and Portugal and in South Africa, so we could basically have cross-continental teams in 2 continents. But then my question is, we could either like pick a topic of the AEF report within your categories where they work on, and we create a challenge around that, or we find an NGO, a youth-led NGO in South Africa or somewhere else that works on one of these themes and then have the students ideate for this NGO. What do you think? What do you think is better? We can do a challenge linked to those like 3 main categories that you said, or we can find an NGO and that fits within those categories and basically give them these student consultants to think about how they can come up with a solution.
I'm not sure if I got your question, but I think it's related. You don't know the lot to which you want to apply, or
No. So
it's the teams that you're not sure about.
It's lot 2, right? And I'm
Okay.
saying, like, would it be better to just create a challenge for these students on the themes that you have, or find a beneficiary that works within the themes and let the students work for them? That's what I'm saying.
I think Andre wants to reply.
Yeah, sorry. I think, Ruben, I think because we obviously don't have full context and of the project, I think it would be impossible to give an answer that would do it justice and potentially could even misinform you. So I think the best way is to look at the impact. Yeah, so you can just reflect on how to develop a project, a mini project that can be the most impactful, given we're talking about minimal funding, and then proceed that way.
Cool. All right. Perfect. I'll make something work.
Thank you. Are there more questions?
Sorry, maybe just if there's no question, just maybe one thing to just reiterate, which we already touched upon, which is around the timeline of the implementation. So please note that as part of your application, it is required to submit a work plan, which provides a timeline for your implementation of your mini project. So when you think about your mini projects, you need to ensure that you do it kind of now at this stage, and as we said, do investigate a bit if there is a way to amplify the impact if you connect your project, whether it be on lot 1 or lot 2, to some of the global policy discussion happening. But in the end, you will need to submit a timeline, a work plan as part of the application. They will need to specify exactly when and how you're going to be implementing the activities. And obviously within the application, you need to specify how it links to any of the kind of a global policy discussions. So that's just to remind that it is a requirement, to have a work plan as part of your application, and so you need to develop this approach now.
Yes, we have one last question from Luther King.
Thank you very much. So quickly, I just want to confirm and ask that I hope this won't be a problem, because I already secured during the application, I discovered there was a part where you had to put in funds you already secured for an ongoing project. So I already have funds from the CCA, which is already currently running. And I had to still add that as part of the application during the funding parts for the cultural heritage thing of things. So I want to confirm that that is not a problem if you already have a running project when you want to link for the, the part of the funding that involves both the European part and the African part. So if you already have work going on regarding these projects, like this application I'm already making, I hope that's not going to be a challenge. Or do you need more clarity?
I think we lost your voice a bit. I'm not sure if Manal got the question.
If I understood correctly, your question was whether we would actually ask you to be exclusively working on the project that you submit the award for during that period of time. And no, we don't ask for exclusivity as long as you make sure that like the timeline that you actually apply with and that you mention in your application is the timeline that you respect. It's up to you to manage your resources and your capacity during that period to implement the project, as long as there is no conflict of interest for the projects, so that you're not actually doing maybe like the same project for two different organizations, but also like to make sure that you do the project the same way that you have mentioned in your application form. But other than that, we don't ask you for any exclusivity to be just working on that project during that period of time. I hope this answered your question. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, great.
But maybe worth adding to that, Luther King, is that obviously as part of the implementation, it's also important to, even if it's kind of a co-finance through different sources, to identify that some of the co-financing also come from the AEF. So.
I think, Ruben, you have your hand risen. I think maybe we could have that last question and close.
Sorry, it was still up in excitement. My bad.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I think we can close the session then. Yes.
All right, I could give my last words. Thank you so much for your interest, for your very interactive and for this interactive session, but also for your enthusiasm about the award. We really look forward to receiving your applications. Again, I would like to say it again, go to the website, make sure that you download the application form that is annexed in the call, and fill in that form. Don't apply through any other with any other format, because then you will not be eligible. You will receive the confirmation email for submission, and you can edit your application all the way up to the deadline, which is the 23rd of May. So make sure you submit before that, and you finalize any editing or any amendments before that. And again, I look forward to actually receiving the awards, and I really hope that whoever is applying for the projects that are very impactful will win the award.